If you really want to understand modern Iran, you have to look past the headlines. This isn't just a story about geopolitics. It's the story of one of the world's oldest civilizations, and the incredibly complex, often turbulent 50-year relationship between its people and the state that governs them. It's a story of resilience, defiance, and a society that has just never, ever stopped pushing for its own future.
So, let's get into it. We're going to walk through 5 key chapters of this modern history. We'll start with the final days of the Shah, then the revolution itself, which had so many competing dreams. From there, we'll see how a republic was forged in war, look at the constant struggle for change from within, and finally, land on where Iran stands today at a really critical crossroads.
Okay, so our story kicks off in the 1970s. At this point, Iran is a monarchy, it's ruled by the Shah, and it is absolutely swimming in cash from a massive oil boom. And this wasn't just wealth, it was pure fuel for a colossal national ambition.
The Shah had this vision. He called it the Great Civilization. This was his grand promise, a super-fast, top-down modernization that he believed would launch Iran onto the world stage. He literally saw a future where Iran would rival the most advanced nations, all built on the back of petrodollars. But a vision like that, it came with a very steep price.
You see, the Shah's policies essentially split the entire country in two. It created this dual society. On one side, you had this modern, westernized elite, all connected to the government and the army. And on the other, you had the traditional heart of Iran, the clergy, the merchants in the bazaar, the rural population, all of whom felt increasingly pushed aside, alienated, and just left behind.
So this progress, it was creating some deep, deep instability. All that sudden wealth just overheated the economy, leading to this crippling inflation that really hurt ordinary people. Corruption was everywhere, and the gap between the rich who had connections and everyone else, well, it became a chasm. Now add to that this feeling of being culturally colonized by the West and the constant fear of the Shah's absolutely brutal secret police, Savak. What you have there is the perfect recipe for a revolution.
And in 1979, that revolution came. But here's the thing you have to understand. It was not one single unified movement. Not at all. It was this messy, contested process, a very fragile coalition of Islamists, leftists, and nationalists. They all wanted the Shah gone for sure, but they had wildly different ideas about what should come next.
Now, right at the center of the Islamist vision was this concept, vilayat-e-faqih, or guardianship of the jurist. The idea was that since the prophesied 12th Imam is hidden, the most learned religious scholar should have ultimate authority over the state. In practice, this created the supreme leader, a jurist who could overrule the elected president, the parliament, everything. It put religious authority right at the top of political power. It was literally a blueprint for a brand new kind of government.
Ayatollah Khomeini's real revolutionary power came from how he framed this whole struggle. It wasn't just political or economic, he said, it was a religious duty. He spoke directly to that deep sense of injustice and piety that millions felt, and he mobilized this incredibly powerful opposition that the Shah's modern army and police, they just couldn't contain it.
So just a few weeks after the Shah fled the country, the revolution hit this pivotal moment. The choice put to the people was stark, and it was simple. It wasn't about the fine print of what the government would look like. It was a single yes or no question that was designed to consolidate one vision over all the others.
And the result? It was just overwhelming. A staggering 98.2% voted yes. This referendum cemented the Islamic Republic, and in doing so, it effectively sidelined all those leftist and nationalist groups that had helped topple the monarchy in the first place. The revolution that started with many visions was now officially set on a single determined path.
The new republic had almost no time to find its footing. Its entire identity would be forged, almost immediately, in the fire of war, isolation, and a deep-seated ideology of resistance.
So in 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraq invades. The war that followed was brutal. It lasted 8 years, and it was a foundational trauma for Iran. It cost hundreds of thousands of lives and completely devastated the economy. But it also gave the new state a powerful story, the Holy Defense. This narrative fused Iranian nationalism with Shia ideas of martyrdom and sacrifice, and it created this identity of a besieged but resilient nation, an identity that absolutely endures to this day. This slogan pretty much defined the new republic's entire view of the world. Remember, this is the Cold War, but Iran rejected both superpowers. It said, we're neither East nor West.
They declared themselves a leader of the oppressed, and they were going to chart a third path, totally independent of both Washington and Moscow. And that principle would define their foreign policy for decades.
So, internally, the story of Iran since the war has been this constant, powerful tug of war between a society that is hungry for change and a state that is determined to hold its revolutionary line no matter what.
In the late 90s, this amazing period of hope emerged with the election of the reformist president Mohammad Khatami. He championed a dialogue of civilizations and really opened up social and political space. But this opening was met with a fierce backlash from hardliners. They saw it as a threat to revolutionary values, and they pushed back hard, emphasizing resistance and a deep suspicion of the West. And this tension, it has just erupted again and again. In 2009, the Green Movement saw millions protesting a disputed election. It was a cry for reform within the system. But it was brutally crushed, and that really slammed the door on that possibility. Then, in 2022, the death of Mahsa Amini in custody ignited the Woman Life Freedom Uprising. And this was different. This was a nationwide movement centered on personal freedom, a really profound cultural break that revealed just how huge the chasm between the state and its people had become.
Now, amidst all this internal struggle, the nuclear program became a kind of unifying issue for the state. It was framed not just as being about energy or security, but as a stand for national sovereignty, a right that was being denied to them by a world order that, in their view, wanted to keep Iran down. It became this incredibly powerful symbol of defiance. Well, the world responded with crippling sanctions, and this created two totally different realities. The state's official story was that sanctions were a gift, something that would force Iran to become self-sufficient. But for ordinary Iranians, the reality was a collapsing currency, skyrocketing prices, shortages of critical medicines, and the systematic destruction of the middle class.
And that brings us to today, to an Iran that's navigating a profoundly changing global landscape, a position defined by its reaction to decades of pressure and isolation.
So faced with this unrelenting pressure from the West, Iran has pivoted east. It's deepened strategic ties with Russia and China, even becoming a vital partner for Moscow in evading its own sanctions. At the same time, it solidified its influence all across the region, from Iraq to Lebanon. Iran is positioning itself not as an isolated state, but as a major power in a new, multipolar world.
But through all of this geopolitical chess, the central story of Iran, it hasn't really changed. It's still this enduring, dramatic tension between the rigid identity of the Islamic Republic and a dynamic, sophisticated society that continues relentlessly to demand its own future.
When you look back, you just see the same patterns over and over again. That fight for sovereignty against outside powers, the clash between religious authority and personal freedom, and this deep divide between the state's 1979 identity and the dreams of a whole new generation.
So, as Iran charts its course through a more fractured and uncertain world, the defining question really is this: will its future be shaped by the will of the state or by the absolutely irrepressible spirit of its people?